It's 6:18 on a Tuesday morning, and you're standing behind a reception desk at a hotel, arguing with a guest about a payment that should have gone through yesterday. Your phone vibrates. One notification. Then another. Then the screen lights up with a number you don't recognize. You almost ignore it. You answer anyway. Are you the person who knows how to make problems disappear? You look around the empty lobby. The man on the phone gives you a name. Adrian Vale. You know the name. Everyone does. Billionaire. Investor. Technology founder. Owner of companies you have never heard of and properties you could never afford to enter. You assume it's a prank. Then the man says your full name. He tells you where you work. He tells you what time your shift ends. And then he says something that makes your stomach tighten. Mr. Vale has a problem that cannot go through lawyers. You hang up. 3 minutes later, your manager walks toward you with a look you have never seen on his face. Someone is here for you. Outside, a black sedan is waiting. You have two choices. You can go back inside and pretend the call never happened. Or you can get into the car. You choose the car. That decision becomes the beginning of a life you never planned to live. The first thing you learn is that a personal fixer is not a lawyer. Not a bodyguard. Not an assistant. You are the person standing between a powerful person and the consequences of his decisions. Your first meeting with Adrian Vale lasts 11 minutes. He doesn't shake your hand. He doesn't offer you coffee. He simply slides a folder across the table. Inside are photographs, financial documents, a contract, and a printed email. A senior executive at one of his companies is threatening to resign. Normally, that sounds like a corporate problem. Then you read the email. The executive claims he has evidence that someone inside the company has been manipulating financial reports. If he leaves, he says, the evidence goes public. Vale watches you read. You have 48 hours. To do what? Find out whether he's telling the truth. You look at him. And if he is? Vale pauses. Then you tell me how bad it is. That is your first lesson. He isn't asking you to solve everything. He is asking you to tell him the truth before the truth becomes expensive. You spend the next 2 days calling people, checking timelines, comparing documents, and finding contradictions. You discover the executive is exaggerating one part of the story. But another part is real. Money is missing. Not millions. Hundreds of millions. You expect Vale to explode when you tell him. He doesn't. He simply asks one question. Who knows? You give him 3 names. He writes them down. Then he looks at you. Now find out who else knows. You realize something. The first problem was never the money. It was the information. And information is what your new world runs on. Within 3 months, you stop asking people what happened. You start asking what they knew before it happened. You learn to notice the pauses in conversations. You learn that executives suddenly becoming unavailable is sometimes more important than executives resigning. You learn that a 20-minute delay in returning a phone call can mean nothing. Or everything. Your job becomes a strange mixture of investigation, negotiation, damage control, and judgment. Sometimes Vale sends you into rooms where nobody knows who you are. Sometimes he gives you a name and tells you to find out why that person suddenly changed lawyers. Sometimes the problem is simple. A journalist has obtained documents. A former employee is angry. A business partner wants out. A rival is spreading rumors. And sometimes the problem has no clean solution. Those are the ones that stay with you. One night, at 1:13 a.m., Vale calls you. You need to go to Chicago. Why? Someone is threatening one of our directors. You sit up. What kind of threat? A specific one. That answer is enough. You are on a plane before sunrise. By the time you arrive, you discover the director isn't the real target. His daughter is. A photograph has been sent to his phone. She is leaving school. The message contains her name, the school's name, and a warning. You want to call the police immediately. The director refuses. He believes going public will make things worse. You understand his fear. You also understand the danger of doing nothing. For the first time, your decision is not about protecting Vale's reputation. It's about protecting someone who never agreed to be part of this world. You arrange professional security around the family and quietly involve law enforcement without waiting for permission. It costs Vale money. It creates questions. It also keeps the family safe. When you return, Vale is waiting. You went around me. Yes. You were told not to. Yes. Silence. Then he asks, would you do it again? You don't answer immediately. Yes. He nods. Good. That is the moment your position changes. You stop being someone who works for Vale. You become someone Vale trusts to make decisions when he isn't in the room. Trust is valuable. It is also dangerous. Because the more decisions you make, the more responsibility becomes yours. A year passes. Your salary increases. Your apartment changes. Your clothes change. Your phone never stops vibrating. You have 3 numbers for Vale. 1 for normal matters. 1 for emergencies. And 1 that you are never supposed to call unless you believe someone could die. You have used the 3rd number twice. The 2nd time changes everything. It happens on a Friday evening. A major acquisition is scheduled for Monday. The company is worth nearly $4.8 billion. If the deal closes, Vale gains control of an entire industry. If it collapses, billions in projected value disappear. At 9:42 p.m., you receive a message. One of the executives negotiating the deal has secretly contacted a competitor. You verify it. The information is real. But there is another problem. The executive isn't trying to sabotage the deal. He is trying to expose something inside Vale's own company. You spend 6 hours investigating. By sunrise, you discover the executive has evidence of illegal activity involving people close to Vale. Now you have a choice. You can protect the deal. Or you can protect the truth. There is no third option. You call Vale. He listens without interrupting. When you finish, he asks, what would you do? A year ago, you would have given him the answer he wanted. Now you give him the answer you believe is right. I would stop the deal. The silence lasts so long you think the call has dropped. Then Vale says, do it. You freeze. Cancel the acquisition. Delay it. Why? Because if you're wrong, we lose billions. He pauses. If you're right, we lose more. The deal is delayed. The investigation begins. And 3 weeks later, the company discovers that the evidence is real. The people involved are removed. The acquisition survives. But the story leaks anyway. For 48 hours, Vale's name dominates the news. His stock falls. Investors panic. Your phone receives dozens of calls. Then, unexpectedly, the market stabilizes. The company survives. And you become something you never intended to become. The person people call when they cannot call anyone else. Executives start asking for your opinion. Lawyers wait for your decisions. Security teams brief you before they brief senior management. People who once ignored you now watch your reactions during meetings. You have power. But you also discover the hidden cost. You stop sleeping normally. Every unknown number looks suspicious. Every unexpected resignation makes you wonder what happened before you heard about it. When someone says, it's probably nothing, you immediately ask what they aren't telling you. Your friends notice. You don't. Not at first. You begin canceling dinners because something important might happen. You stop drinking because you may need to make a decision at 3 a.m. You memorize hotel exits. You know which airports have private terminals. You know which conversations should never happen over email. And slowly, without realizing it, you become the kind of person you used to distrust. You become careful with every sentence. Then comes the night that tests everything. It's 11:26 p.m. You are driving home when your secure phone rings. It's Vale. He doesn't say hello. Someone has access to the family schedule. Your hands tighten around the steering wheel. How? We don't know. Who knows about it? That's what I need you to find out. You turn the car around. For the next 4 hours, you reconstruct movements, meetings, travel plans, security changes, and access logs. Someone has been watching the family. But they aren't inside the security team. They are closer. Much closer. You identify the source at 3:51 a.m. A senior employee. Someone you have worked with for almost 2 years. Someone who has sat across from you in meetings. Someone who knows how you think. You confront him. He doesn't deny it. He says he isn't trying to hurt anyone. He says he is trying to expose Vale. He gives you a choice. Protect the billionaire. Or expose what the billionaire has done. You stare at the documents he places on the table. Some are legitimate. Some are manipulated. And some are impossible to explain. For the first time, you understand the real danger of your job. You are not surrounded by good people and bad people. You are surrounded by people with different versions of the truth. You take the documents. You don't destroy them. You don't release them. You don't hand them back. You secure them. Then you tell Vale exactly what you found. Including the parts that could damage him. He listens. When you're finished, he says something you never expect. You're no longer working for me. Your stomach drops. Then he continues. You're working for the system. You don't understand. He explains. If you protect me from everything, eventually you become part of the problem. That sentence stays with you. Because you realize how close you came. The next morning, an independent investigation begins. People resign. Contracts are terminated. Several relationships collapse. Vale loses money. You lose friends. The company survives. But something changes between you and him. There is no longer complete trust. There is something more complicated. Mutual respect. You now understand that your job isn't to keep a billionaire comfortable. Your job is to keep reality from becoming invisible. Months later, you're sitting alone in an airport lounge. It's 5:17 a.m. Your phone is on the table. The secure line hasn't rung in 6 days. For the first time in years, you wonder what life would feel like if you simply turned it off. Then the phone vibrates. One message. No name. No explanation. Just an address. And underneath it, 3 words. He doesn't know. You stare at the screen. You know what the message means. Someone has found a problem before Vale has. Someone wants you to handle it before it reaches him. You could delete the message. You could walk away. You could pretend you never saw it. But you've learned something about this world. Problems don't disappear because you refuse to look at them. They grow. You pick up the phone. You stand. And you walk toward the exit. Because being a personal fixer is not about having the power to solve every problem. It's about being the person who steps toward the problem before everyone else realizes it exists. And somewhere ahead of you, another decision is already waiting.